Fraziled with Rob.
All right, welcome to Fraziled with Rob the Luchador and
Geo Hunter, or also known as Michael.
Geo Hunter. So, Joe, welcome to Fraziled. Tell us what you teach here at Cypress.
Yeah, well, so I teach core geography and AP human geography, but I also have a few sections of AP freshman success, and I also have online U.S. history this year. So pretty full packed schedule.
And you also work after school.
Yeah. So I also help out with granted adult ed. So I teach the foundations, math, and language arts from 6 to 8:30. So I'm here basically 12 hours a day.
What's your favorite thing to teach?
Ooh, well, I think, out of what I teach right now, I would say probably AP Human Geography. But, my ultimate favorite subject to teach overall is just U.S. government. But we'll see. Maybe in the future. Right?
Maybe in the future you'll be able to do U.S. government. So, a lot of kids don't like history classes. Mm-hmm. How can you make it so history's not so boring?
Yeah, so that's kind of usually the dilemma, right? Especially with history, where it's something that's happened in the past. Fortunately, with geography, right, we talk about things that are happening in the world currently, right? So we talk about what's going on in Ukraine, right? The Ukraine war ties directly into our standards, what we're talking about, and the kids hear and see about this. Not many of them are watching the news, but they're watching TikTok, and they're seeing these events on their TikTok feed, and so it's nice to come and talk in class about these events, and so kind of trying to tie the curriculum as much as possible to what's going on in the world around them today, and making it relevant. I think my favorite era or area of history is Soviet history. So in high school, I actually studied Russian as a language because I'm from Iowa originally, and then I actually lived over in Russia for a few months studying there, and I was paying attention to the language, but I also was traveling all over the country looking at history, historic parts of Russia. And so I'd say Soviet history is my go-to. It's just I don't necessarily and embrace what the Soviet Union was, but there's some cool stories there.
So if I were to ask you a serious question, would you answer it?
I'll listen to it.
Are you a Russian spy?
I can neither confirm nor deny that. I've had many people speculate, but if you ever come to my classroom, definitely looks like something out of a Ian Fleming novel. It's definitely an interesting era of history, for sure, and especially because it's a lot more relevant, right? There's people like you who are alive during that time, right?
Wow, do you see how I just made that comment? It's unusual that someone like me is alive now because I lived through that era. He's basically saying I'm 112.
Well, hey, you know what? We always joke, in the geography PLC, right? Because I'm the youngest teacher there, and it's whenever we talk about our ages, I'm yeah, I was born in '96, and then you get Beal, who's just whoa, I was in I was just starting college at that point, and so I'm definitely a young chick.
Yeah, at that point I was several years into my teaching career, so
yeah. So and yeah.
But I was only 25. I was like the Doogie Howser of teachers. Anyway, Joe, what are some of your hobbies? What are some things you like?
So I don't know, there are a few things. I'm big on video games, right? So it's when I have the time, I'm just letting loose on big open world type video game player like Grand Theft Auto, right? Rockstar Games. But I also like to do Flight Simulator. Right, so it's in an alternative universe, I probably would have been a pilot if I could have been. But I think it was on the math side. That wasn't my strong suit. But yeah, those are just some of the things I like to do. Obviously, spending time with my wife because we don't get to see each other during the week as much.
What about Asteroids and Pac-Man? Those were really big back in my day.
It's been a long time since I've played Pac-Man.
What about an Atari? Did you ever own an Atari?
No, my first system was an Xbox, an original Xbox. My stepbrother had a PS1. But by the time we were spending a lot of time together, he graduated to the Xbox, and so I remember playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and that's what got me hooked on video game playing. Halo was a big one for a while, but yeah, those old school games, they have their they have their place and they can be fun, but
Yeah, they weren't that fun then either. But I mean, no games were like they are now, right? When you talk about graphics. Or,
well, yeah, like the realistic, like, hopefully, probably 10 years from now when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, we will see kind of the ultra realism that comes with it, right? And we can even, phones themselves, just regular smartphones can play amazing games.
You could do ultra real now. Just go steal a car.
Yeah, that's true, right? Because we got a police station right down in the corner, and we could actually have a real Grand Theft Auto going on.
So you like to travel, don't you?
Yeah. So I think one of the perks of having me as a geography teacher is because I've been all over the world. First time I traveled was to San Diego from Iowa when I was back in middle school, and that's where I kind of caught the travel bug. So like I mentioned, I spent some time over in Russia. I've been to Russia twice, but one time living there for a few months up in St. Petersburg. And then I've spent time in East Asia, Australia, I think a total of like 13 countries, but 4 continents.
What's the next place you'd like to go to?
I think for me, it's probably somewhere in the Middle East. I'm thinking, Egypt, Israel, for sure. That was my plan back in 2019, but being a struggling college student definitely makes it difficult to travel because a lot of my trips were just backpacking, staying at hostels for a couple bucks a night, and it's like. That's why I always tell my students is just like, when you guys get an opportunity to travel, take that opportunity, right? You may not be living in a Ritz-Carlton, right, when you're traveling, but, to be able to experience the world and to see the different cultures, I think.
Have you ever traveled to Idaho?
I have. Going to Utah State, that was usually, when the Powerball got pretty big, we made the trek up to the Utah's lottery.
What's been your favorite thing about coming to Cyprus? You've been here for, is it 3 years?
No. Starting my 3rd year next year. Right?
This is only your 2nd year.
This is only my 2nd year, and it feels like I've been here for several years.
You can tell I'm like 112 because all the years are the same now. So
yeah, I think I didn't know what to expect. When I got that call for that job here, saying, hey, we need someone to teach AP Geography, and I'm like, whoa. And I didn't know what to expect, but over these last 2 years, I've really come to grow and love the Cyprus community, right? The faculty are amazing, and I've been in a lot of different schools just throughout my time at Utah State. The faculty are amazing, the PLCs are great, but also the students. The students are what matter, and ultimately, our students definitely have more. I'm pulling a blank here, but they're just really great students to work with, ultimately.
Yeah, I'll edit over and then I'll just do a voice like you're saying. The kids have a lot of great grit and spunk and the ability to hide and not make it into class when they're supposed to be there. So I can add all that in later.
No, but when they do make it into our classrooms, right? They are a wonder to work with, right? And it's like I feel like I'm making more of a difference here than maybe some other parts of the valley that I could be at.
Do you have any parting words, quotes, limericks, anything for this crowd?
Well, we'll obviously say Slava Ukraina, right? As Ukraine's going through this war, and to be honest, we've all had a rough year, rough couple years, right, in education, and I feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and then things are in the up.
Well, you heard it from Geo Hunter right here, and thanks for joining us for Fraziled with Lucha Rob and Joe.
Sweet. До свидания, товарищи.